You won't hear this in the news, but the facts speak for themselves. More than 70% of Americans cannot survive without electricity for even 72 hours. Not because they are lazy, but because they are dependent. Mobile phones, refrigerators, gas stations, ATMs all stop working when the electricity is turned off. And in such a situation, your supplies become a target for others. My name is Zach. I survived 4 major power outages, 3 hurricanes, and 1 evacuation due to a forest fire. And let me say that your main threat is not panic, but people. Hungry, scared, desperate people who were unprepared. They are searching for more than just food. They will come for the things you thought were safe. This is not a theory. During Hurricane Ida, generator thefts in Louisiana increased by 600% in just 4 days. During the power outage in New York in 2003, robberies began in 45 minutes. At the moment the lights go out, the rules change. In this video, I will show 8 categories of supplies that are first taken by robbers, neighbors, and even emergency services. Moreover, I will explain how to protect them using real strategies tested in actual crises. Let's start with the 8th point, because if you think it's something obvious, you're already behind. Batteries and portable chargers. Let's talk about what most people completely underestimate until they find themselves in the dark and their flashlight goes out. Batteries. I'm not just talking about AA and AAA batteries. I mean lithium-ion batteries, headlamps, tool batteries, and even solar lamps with charging capabilities. In the absence of electricity, these small energy sources become the new currency, as everything else becomes more difficult without power. During the winter cold in Texas in the year 2021, lithium-ion batteries were sold at a price 4 times higher than usual within just 72 hours. Why? Because no one could power anything. Phones died. Radios fell silent, flashlights became useless. I knew a man who traded 1 battery for $10,000 worth of a full propane tank. And you know what? It was a beneficial deal for both parties. But here's what you probably didn't know. In many urban areas, large stores like Target and Home Depot were being looted, not for food, but for batteries. Shelves were emptied in minutes. As soon as it became known that some houses had batteries and solar kits, thefts followed. Quiet houses without light did not attract attention. But as soon as someone turned on the light on the veranda from the battery, boom, you become a beacon. The key to protecting these assets is multi-layering. You need visible batteries, low value, old ones that can be given away if pressured. But your real supplies should be kept in hidden places. I keep my things in airtight bags behind the ventilation panels, in old toolboxes, and even inside hollowed-out books. Also, give them misleading labels. Old, broken cables will make most thieves leave, and whatever you do, don't charge everything at once. Glowing indicators in the night can be a distress signal, screaming that you are ready and powered. Sanitary supplies and hygiene products. No one talks about it until it's too late. Sanitation. When the power goes out, soon the water supply stops working. The pressure in the municipal water system drops. The sewage systems are overflowing. Suddenly, even using the toilet becomes a real problem. In Venezuela, during the economic crisis, diapers, women's hygiene products, and toilet paper became black market items. I am not exaggerating. People sold used, washed diapers because no new ones were arriving. In Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported a 58% increase in gastrointestinal diseases in just 2 weeks because people could not wash their hands properly or dispose of waste. This is where your supplies become important. Wet wipes, bleach, gloves, hand sanitizer, even baking soda. All of this is critically important. All of this is in short supply, and all of this will attract people when the panic begins. Do you think anyone would risk stealing a chainsaw before stealing a box of nitrile gloves? Think again. When cholera knocks at the door, priorities change quickly. So how do you protect these inconspicuous yet vital things? First, never store everything in the bathroom. That's exactly where people will look first. I distribute my supplies among the cabinets, under the kitchen sink, behind false back walls, even inside a sealed container labeled holiday decorations, old candles. Secondly, duplicate supplies are extremely important. Leave a visible pile of partially used soap and expired napkins. Let the seekers think they are lucky and move on. And thirdly, think about how to protect your supplies from trade. Keep a small stock for exchange, but do not let people know how much you have, because at the moment when the rumors spread that you have wet wipes, you will become the favorite neighbor until you say no, and then you will become a target. Clothes and winter clothing. This may seem absurd. Why would someone steal clothes during a power outage? But listen, when there is no electricity, there is no heating, No way to dry wet clothes, no washing machines, no hot showers. And suddenly, a pair of rough socks or a waterproof poncho becomes more valuable than any expensive gadget. In 2017, when some areas of Ukraine remained without electricity for weeks in winter, the level of survival in some rural communities directly depended on access to suitable winter clothing. Think about gloves, insulated boots, thermal underwear. Now think about your spare closet. What do you have there? Tactical gear, work boots, fleece jackets. These are highly valued targets during power outages. And this is what many do not understand. Thieves who target homes during disasters, especially when it's cold, are looking for more than just food. They seek warmth. I spoke with a man who experienced the Black Day in Chile in the year 2010. He said that people were breaking into homes not to steal televisions, but to take blankets. Let that sink in. So how do we protect these things? First of all, stop keeping good gear in the front cabinet. It should be stored in locked containers, preferably labeled with something innocuous, like old tax returns or pet supplies. Secondly, hide things in plain sight. Store your wool socks in old cereal boxes. Keep emergency sleeping bags under the bed and in boxes from old vacuum cleaners. And remember, visibility is danger. A dryer full of perfectly clean, expensive tactical gear will look like a flashing neon sign saying, "Come, rob me." Regularly change the visible items and always try to make your gear look like trash. Worn, dirty, tired, because in a crisis, cleanliness and dryness mean wealth. Wealth attracts danger. Seeds and materials for their cultivation. Now we enter a realm understood only by experienced, prepared individuals. I am not talking about gardening as a hobby, but about food production. In the event of a prolonged power outage or network collapse, seeds become strategic assets. During the Great Depression, seed catalogs were valued like gold. In Venezuela, after 2015, the urban agricultural sector exploded as people realized that food no longer came from stores. And guess who profited from this? The one who had ancient seeds. Here is another alarming fact that most Americans do not know. In 2020, at the beginning of the panic due to COVID, seed-selling companies were completely exhausted. Orders for basic seeds were delayed for 3 months, and it was not even a network collapse, but merely panic behavior. Now imagine such a situation without the internet, without supply chains, and without the ability to replenish stocks. You have food in a paper envelope, and everyone will want it. What's worse, organized groups, especially those trying to establish control in a post-collapse situation, are targeting seeds for long-term planning. During the civil war in Syria, control over seed storage became a military objective. And if you think this can't happen here, ask yourself why the U.S. Department of Agriculture keeps a global seed bank in Fort Collins, Colorado. The strategy for protecting your seed bank lies in concealment. Never store them in obvious gardening containers. My seeds are vacuum-packed in Mylar bags labeled as camping meals and stored in the back of my camping gear container. Some are even hidden in plastic bags inside old video cassettes. Yes, video cassettes. No one will look for seeds of antique tomatoes in a dusty pile of cassettes with TV series. Here is a professional tip. Mix them with fakes, packages of ordinary hybrid seeds that will not reproduce correctly. If someone finds your stash, let them take it. Keep the ancient seeds for yourself. In the conditions of a year-long power outage, you will provide not only food, but also control, identification, cash, and paper assets that can be exchanged. This is not flashy. It is not tactful. But when the lights go out and systems collapse, your identification, money, and important documents will become tools for survival or weapons in the wrong hands. During the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, survivors quickly realized that access to aid was impossible without identification. Charitable organizations, military checkpoints, and even local authorities demanded identification to receive food, water, and transportation. People forged documents, stole passports, and even killed for birth certificates. Imagine such chaos in the United States. In the early hours of Hurricane Katrina, evacuees without identification could not cross state lines. They were barred from buses, or worse, detained as suspects of looting. But the situation becomes even more grim. In the case of a prolonged power outage, you may need identification to access fuel depots, checkpoints, or secured areas. If someone steals your wallet, you will lose not only your driver's license, you will lose access to your identity and give someone the opportunity to impersonate you in conditions of resource scarcity. Add cash to this, especially small bills, and you will become a high-value target. Remember how it was when the COVID pandemic started. People paid $5 for one N95 mask. Now imagine a power outage. ATMs are down, banks are closed, debit cards are useless. Paper money will temporarily reign supreme. When they are finished, documents such as vehicle ownership certificates, land deeds, and even vaccination cards may become items for trade on the black market. Here is what you should do. Make physical and digital backups of everything. Store the originals in a waterproof and fireproof safe, securely anchored in place. Keep copies in 2 other places. One on you in a hidden wallet, the other in an emergency bag. And encrypt your digital versions on a microSD card glued inside a fake battery. Don't wait until you're in the FEMA line trying to prove that you are you. In a blackout, your identity is not just who you are. This is your currency, your access, and your safety net. Water filtration equipment, and stored water. If you think people panicked over food during the power outage, wait until the taps run dry. For 24 hours after the power goes out, water becomes the most urgent problem. Why? Because unlike food, water cannot be skipped. It is necessary every day. And if you don't have it, you have 72 hours before your body starts shutting down. During the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, bottled water disappeared in just 2 days. People traveled across state borders to get bottles, and this was during a time of functioning roads, phones, and stores. In Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Maria, locals drank from contaminated streams, collected rainwater from rusty roofs, and dug holes in dry riverbeds, hoping for seepage. FEMA sent emergency water, but it was not enough. People literally fought for it. That's why water filtration equipment becomes a top priority during any power outage. If you have a Berkey, LifeStraw, or even a Sawyer mini filter, you have become a valuable resource. Too valuable. Desperate neighbors, wandering gangs, and even local civil response groups will seek access to your water. And here's the thing. Most people store water in obvious places. In the garage, pantry, or basement. But those are the first places thieves check. So how can you protect your supplies? First, decentralize. Use hidden supplies, water bricks concealed under floors, sealed bottles behind false walls and cabinets, even emergency packs vacuum sealed inside insulation. Secondly, never advertise your filter. I keep my Berkey in a modified toolbox that looks like it contains power tools. My Sawyer gear is hidden in a zipped case labeled tent pegs. And the portable filters are neatly packed in old board game boxes on the shelf. It is also important to create backup options. Kits for boiling water, chemical purifiers, charcoal systems. Because once it becomes known that you can purify water, your home will turn into a gathering place for everyone. During power outages, such places attract predators. Don't forget about spare kitchen supplies and fuel. Let's be honest, when the electricity goes out, you will quickly feel hungry. But the main question is how you are going to cook something. There is no microwave, no electric stove either. Your gas cylinder may run out in a week. Your grill is loud, smelly, and noticeable from several blocks away. What does that mean? Your advertising. In Bosnia during the siege of Srebrenica in the 90s, the sound and smell of grilling meat were sufficient reasons to rob your apartment. People used wet blankets to hide the smoke and cook indoors, concealing their location. We moved to Hurricane Sandy. Almost 60% of New York residents had to give up the ability to cook for 48 hours. Think cold spaghetti is terrible? Try living on it for a whole month. This is where your camping stoves, gas generators, butane burners, and solar ovens become essential survival gear and simultaneously the most sought-after goods on the black market. In the year 2021, during the frost in Texas, small portable heaters were sold on eBay for $250. Cartridges with fuel cost $10 each if you can find them. So how do you protect your ability to cook quietly and unnoticed? First, stop keeping the stove in its original box. It's a clear sign. Wrap it in a towel and place it in a regular container labeled old cables. Secondly, avoid universal solutions. Have several systems. A wooden gas generator for long-term cooking without fuel, a small rocket stove made of bricks in your yard, and an alcohol burner hidden in your emergency kit. And here's the secret. Fuel is harder to hide than a stove. Store butane in fake paint cans. Keep wood pellets in a trash bin labeled garbage. Use old canisters with hidden refills inside. In a long power outage, those who cook quietly will survive longer. Those who cook in plain sight become the next target. Support for morale is your hidden lifeline in the dark. Now I know what you are thinking. Support for morale is the main thing, and you can believe it. Because here is the harsh reality that most prepared people realize too late. Mental decline kills faster than hunger during a prolonged power outage. I saw it with my own eyes. People who were physically fine had food, water, even shelter, but their will to live shattered like glass. The reasons were isolation, boredom, fear, hopelessness. That is why your supplies for boosting morale, comfort items, games, books, music, and small joys can not only be the most stolen, but also perhaps the most dangerous to reveal. In Venezuela, after the collapse, board games and batteries for radios became black market items. In Bosnia, a deck of cards could provide you with firewood for a week. During the Fukushima disaster in 2011, survivors told researchers that having something, anything, to distract them was a crucial factor in coping with the situation or breaking down. You think it won't touch you because you have strength of spirit. Wait until the 27th day, when silence will press from all sides and your children will ask for their favorite bedtime story, and you will be able to offer them only darkness. In such moments, people lose their composure. But what most people do not understand is that these things, these comforts, help you not only, they make you a target. A battery-powered radio playing music while others have none, alongside an electronic reader with 200 offline books, a bar of chocolate, and several packets of instant coffee. This is no longer a luxury. It is emotional currency. It is hope. And in a world without hope, hope becomes dangerous. It breeds obsession, theft, violence. So how to protect these treasures? First, stop keeping them in obvious places. Your old game console, free it from the inside. Hide the battery and headphones in it. That worn-out novel you keep in your spare backpack. Wrap it in a fake textbook cover titled Solutions to Mathematical Analysis. Even board games can be emptied and filled with morale-boosting sets, photographs, letters, handwritten prayers, even candies. But more than just hiding, you need to control their use. Never turn the radio on loud, only take out the maps behind thick curtains. And never let outsiders see your treasure. Because in a world that has lost its light, even a spark can attract a dangerous crowd. Let's clarify. This is not about comfort. It's about survival. Psychological collapse is a real threat. It turns strong people into walking dead. It convinces good people to give up. And when you fall morally, you fall completely. That's why morale and psychological resilience are not just important. They come first. Hide it, protect it, distribute it. Because in long disconnection, hope is the most valuable thing you have.